All right, thanks for joining us today, everybody. Joe with the Gym Life Podcast, and finally getting together with Hannah Lindsay, and something we've been trying to put together for well over a couple months now. We've talked a couple times since I tried to put this all together, but we finally got her here, ready to join us this evening. Welcome, Hannah, and thanks for coming on board with the Gym Life.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to say to you is, first off, Hannah's won the Arnold in 2019. Is that right, Hannah? Was it 2019?
Well, technically it was 2020 because the way the competition calendar works, nationals was in 2019, and I won amateur nationals.
Yeah, that's right.
Then the following calendar year is 2020, but as far as competition year, I won the Arnold Amateur the 2020.
That's right before that whole COVID year gets me screwed up now because all that sort of what was supposed to happen didn't happen, and all these people training for these shows didn't happen, and they kind of catch all this stuff up because all of a sudden we have the Arnold, and all of a sudden we have the Arnold again in March, I think, right? So that's what you're getting ready for. Yeah, that's I've been watching your training, and I know we got a lot to talk about today, but that's the first thing that comes to mind right now. Your pressing is getting beastly right now.
Yeah, it's getting there. Right now we're kind of doing like a static hypertrophy block before I start into Arnold prep, which will start I think the second week of December, I think. So right now it's just we're getting everything lined up to get statically strong, I guess, to peak that strength and then go into the actual prep. But really it's the fact that the weather, it's cooling down, work isn't killing me as much. It's not 170 degrees on deck anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if the following knows, but I work at a steel mill. I work in caster where we take liquid steel and cast it to a solid bar, and it gets quite hot. And during summer, I lost 15 pounds in the first 3 months I was working there.
Yeah.
So
it was nice to put the weight back on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was nice. The weather's cooling down. The rotation I'm in at work, I'm in the pulpit some nights, I'm in the mold some nights. So I'm not out in the brunt of the heat, all of my days on shift like I was during summer because I just got the job. So training's finally taking the turn for the positive for once. But that's really going well. I'm excited to see where that's at because I have big goals for Arnold Pro, and I'm ready to bring that new package in because I've been working on this for 2 years. I've been holding out.
Boy, I can't wait to see it. I know you're like I said, I'm a huge fan of yours. I always have been, because you just take it to a whole nother level, even in your training. And I know you and your husband just, get going together on that. And I love watching you train. It's interesting you bring up your job, and I of course knew what you did, and we brought it up before, but that's it's a taxing job. Working in a steel mill, I think we've all seen a movie or two where they're pouring steel and these people are wearing these, these snowsuits essentially while they're working. And I can't only imagine coming from a job like that and trying to fit that into your training. Again, I know people that work construction. I know people that are, bricklayers or roofers and that kind of thing. But boy, when you talk about working in a steel mill, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
It is. And you're wearing long johns that are FRs, you're wearing FR pants, FR shirts, you have an FR jacket, then you're wearing a snood that basically only does this pokes out, and then your hard hat, glasses, goggle or gloves and everything. So it makes just normal tasks that are easy a lot more taxing because it is so hot. So you might walk up just 20 steps and you're like, oh God. But it's because you're walking up 20 steps with probably an extra 10 pounds of things on you in 170-degree weather.
What's interesting about your job too is you made a point, and I saw it on we've talked about it as well, and heard you say it more than once. You're the only woman. You might be the only woman in the country that does this work, right? You're the only one at your job right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure at other mills they might have some. I don't know. I just know for a fact at where I work, as far as hot side production, from where they melt the scrap and roll it up into sheet metal into a coal, I'm the only female in hot side production.
Yeah, well, it says something about your ability to get the job done. That's why I kind of made that reference. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And that's the thing. For example, there's never been a lead position on that side, and that's one of my goals. Yeah. And it's not because I want to be the first female, but it's just because I know I'm just as good as the guys I work with, and that's just I'm not satisfied until I get what I want. So I'm really excited about that. But the guys, they're real cool. I'm in there banging with them every day. They respect me. They treat me like one of the guys. I don't think I'm treated any differently at all. And that's what I wanted from them. I didn't want to be treated differently or here, I'll pick this up. It's no, I got it. I'll pick this up with you with it. We're good.
When you grew up and you were in soccer, and I know it was soccer, right?
Yeah.
And you got your injury in soccer, and that's what kind of led you down the road to strength sports. did you grow up a tomboy? Was it something, I mean, because you got this
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of really toughness about you that isn't a normal thing with a lot of women that I know.
No, I grew up, I had an older brother. He was 2.5 years older. And I grew up, we are on a family farm. We have a lot of sugar cane. And it was just me and him. Like, we didn't have like neighbors. We didn't go to town to hang out with friends. So like, he was my best friend. And I tell him this all the time. Like, I attribute him and my dad for sure to like my toughness and my tomboy and stuff, because like they beat the shit out of me all the time. You know, it was always like wrestling and WWF moves and all this stuff. And when he played football, they got me a set of pads and helmets so I could practice with him in the yard and stuff. So, I mean, I attribute much of my, I guess, tenacity and work ethic and bluntness, I guess you could say, is from being raised on a farm with my brother and my dad. And, you know, my mom is not girly girl. You know, I mean, we all can doll up and get ready. I mean, I was just in a wedding this weekend and I was all dolled up, and I don't mind doing that. But it's like at the same time, like, if you want me to go out and work with you in the pasture, you know, I can do that.
Well, it's funny you say that. I saw that picture of you and Thomas all dolled up, and you know, you clean up well, Hannah. You clean up really well. Yeah, that was a fun. Does Thomas work with you at the steel mill too? I was going to ask.
Yeah, he actually works in melt shop. So he's where they melt all the scrap and they ship it liquid, and then I grab it from liquid to make it to solid. And then my brother-in-law is actually in hot mill, where they take my bar and they flatten it, length it, then coal it up. And we all work the same shift.
Oh,
so
nice.
If something breaks, if something breaks down, we text them and be like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like,
I was going to ask that because I know Thomas trains with you a lot at home and in a lot of your videos. And I thought, oh, they must be on the same schedule. And I know the last time we talked, you guys were just, it sounded like you were running like 7-12s almost. It was crazy. So
we
get to train with the headlights going outside and all that stuff. And really, really nuts. Was your brother a big guy? Was he a big, strong football player?
No, my brother probably graduated high school at 5'9", $130.
Really?
But he was the quarterback, because he was the only one that was like, because you have two types of athletes, in my opinion. You have athletes that can see things before they happen. And then you have athletes that just go out there and make things happen. And he's very much, he has a vision and he can see things. I'm very much, I go out there and I make things happen. So we're two completely different athletes. And I really think that if he would have actually gotten blessed with my dad's side of the family genes, he could have played college ball as well.
Yeah, he was an instinctual guy. He had a lot of instinct when it comes to playing. I love guys like that.
Oh, absolutely. He just, I mean, he could see things on the field before they happened that you were like, whoa, like, where'd that come from? And, you know, granted, and he could remember all the plays and stuff. But I really think, because like when I was at college, he went to the same college I did. He played intramural football and he like crushed. But it's just he's not big. Like, I mean, he's not a big dude. I mean, my leg is probably as big as his waist. Like, he's just not a big guy.
Do you tease him a little bit? You guys still wrestle?
God, you know, the last time we wrestled, I almost killed him. And my dad like got so mad at me because he wouldn't tap out. And I had him like squished and like, just like, I was just screaming at him like, tap out, tap out. And he like would not tap out. And he was blue in the face. And Dad came in and threw me away from him. And he said, "You're going to kill him." And I'm like, well, if he'd have just tapped out, like, it would be fine.
I was going to say, since you've gotten into the strength sports, I'm sure things changed around for you.
He won't. I was still in college. I was probably 20. And when I was in college, I was only like 170, 175. And now I'm like 220.
But you're 5'10", right? You're 5'10"?
Yeah, I'm 5'10".
Yeah. You're, I'm picturing you playing soccer even. I mean, I'm sure you were pretty lanky back then. And what position did you play?
I was a goalkeeper.
Okay. Makes complete sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, if I was as big as I am now, I don't even know what would have happened, because like I was strong then. And then, I mean, I had plenty of assists and things of that nature. I've scored from half field. Like, I could kick the ball, but it's like, I can only imagine what it would be like now.
Could you think you can move? How's your agility right now with the size and strength you're putting on?
Probably not where it would need to be.
Yeah.
I would have to work on that. I mean, I'm still fairly athletic. Like, when we go places, like we'll play like volleyball and stuff, and I still move around quite easily. But when you fall, there's a lot more weight coming down. And when you're a goalkeeper, you're falling a lot. But
that's true.
You know, but that kind of like ended. You know, I blew my hip out twice. I had to put that up, and then I started just working out because I really enjoyed it. Got into powerlifting. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't enough like competitiveness. Like, I didn't have any adrenaline rush. Like, even if I hit a PR, it was just like, all right, now go sit in a chair for 3 hours. Like, you know what I mean? And judges, it was too inconsistent. Like, you go to one place, you hold a bench for like a second. The next time you hold a bench for 3 seconds. And then it's like, this is garbage.
You hear that all the time. I mean, it's definitely the sport of strongman just basically says lift the weight or don't lift the weight. That's how you get, there's the judging aspect of it is very simple. Hold the weight, lift the weight, put the weight down.
Well, yeah, it's like if I'm in a lane going faster than you and I beat you, I win.
That's right.
Like,
yeah. Your steps don't get judged. Yeah, exactly. What was so powerlifting for a brief stint of your athletic life? What were your lifts back then? Do you remember?
I think I stopped doing powerlifting in 2015. I think it was in USAPL. I did 3 meets. I think I only did 3. I think my best deadlift was like 365. My best bench was probably no more than 150 or so. And squat was probably close to 380 maybe, or 360. I don't know.
Were you 84 plus back then?
No, I was under 84.
Oh, well, those are great lifts. What's wrong with that?
Compared to now, they're like comical. But, it's like I didn't have a lot of training as far as powerlifting went. So, I mean, it was something I did and I got into. I mean, I think, put it this way, I went to the state show, which is just in Louisiana. We don't have a lot of strong people. But like back in 2015, I think, I can't remember. That was so long ago. I did the state show and I think I placed 3rd. So, I mean, I wasn't like terrible for then at that time and age, but now they're comical because girls are crushing powerlifting right now.
It gets on to the next topic, right? I mean, really what we're seeing in women's strength sports is this paradigm shift, this sort of new revolution of strength in women, which I love it. It's really the favorite thing for me to watch with powerlifting and strongman in particular. It's because we're seeing something happen right before our eyes right now that 10 years ago, nobody thought would ever happen.
No.
And we're right in the middle of it. And not only are we seeing it happen right now, but we're seeing it happen at such a pace that the weights that we thought we would never, ever see are literally going to happen in the next couple of years. And Melissa Peacock,
absolutely.
for instance, a good friend of yours, proved that this year on the Axle, I think it was. And where do you stand? What do you think the major reason is for that? Do you think it's because women are becoming more widely accepted? I don't even want to answer it. I want you to answer that for me. What do you think?
Well, I mean, now I'm probably mispronouncing her last name. Her name is Leah Reichman. She's a geared powerlifter, and she's going to be the first female to squat 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
1,000%. She is a absolute freak. And I love it. Like, I'm here for it all for sure. But, I think it's a mixture of women getting barbells in their hands more.
Okay.
Because that's still taboo, unfortunately. Oh man, if you touch a barbell, you're just going to turn into a dude, that kind of stuff. But
there's still some of that.
It's like, I mean, you're never, the general population is never going to accept strength sports as much or as the fastest pace as we wished, but we're making leaps and bounds. Now, this is my opinion, obviously, but I think it's the fact that more women are getting barbells in their hands and they're realizing like, holy crap, like, I'm strong. Like, I can do this. And it's given them self like confidence too, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially like I like the fact that I'm a strong female and I don't need anyone to help me pick up something. Like, if I'm struggling to pick something up, then it's heavy. But like, I don't know. I mean, I really think it's just because mainstream, and I think Instagram has helped that a lot. That's one of the good things Instagram has done.
I agree.
Amongst all the bad stuff it's done.
Yep.
But like, I think it's shown that like women can lift and not be super bulky or turn into men per se, and also it's just like, it makes you feel good. Like, but I really think it's just because more women are actually touching barbells.
Yeah. I would agree. I think what we're seeing now is just because in large part, because there's so much information out there that women are finding a different way to work out, for one. And I think also too, you're maintaining femininity at the same time. It used to be, the old adage was, well, the only way to get stronger was to get bigger. And I used to be in that camp as well, but we're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing women maintain their femininity and get stronger without putting on 80 or 90 pounds of unneeded body weight. And you're also seeing that in the men now at 105 class. That's a perfect example. We've got something else going on here.
Yeah. And it's also, I think, coaching. There's so much more knowledge now in coaching into peak strength without getting, like you said, like having to, like, a lot of people back then thought, oh, to be strong, you have to like put on 60, 70 pounds. And it's like, no, like you can be fairly athletic and move weight fairly easy. It's just, you got to have the right coaching and the right programming. So I think that's also a big part of it too, is because now there's so much information on the internet and availability of coaches on the internet. And I mean, like Westside Strength and all that, and or Westside Barbell, I mean, they have done so much. I mean, they're training football teams now. Like who'd have ever thought, you know, it's just like that. You know, they have UFC fighters. I mean, they have strength athletes. I mean, it's just, there's so much knowledge out there. And I think the internet, that's some of the good that has came out of the internet.
Now, who is your coach again?
Leifa Ingalls.
Leifa, that's right. That's right, Leifa.
Yeah.
What kind of program did she get you started on? I mean, what was I know when you picked up Leifa, I mean, it changed your strong woman world. It really did. You and I had talked about that before. What kind of programming what did she give you that made you kind of shift into that new sort of you?
Honestly, it's just I think she does more of like conjugate / she's got some West Side stuff. I mean, she does her own thing. Like, I don't even know exactly what you could even classify her programming as, but Leifa is such a technician, and she's got, hands down, she's probably the smartest coach / individual, and so technically like sound that I know personally. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how smart she is. And she's broken things down, and like, as far as like looking into events at contests and breaking them down and thinking about this, that, and the other to save a half second here, 2 seconds here, if you could do this way. I mean, she's made me look into things that I never thought about looking into. And then also she's made me tone down and only really breach that level of, like, we call it like, you can swamp today or go swamp, that kind of thing. We've tried to turn it into like an adjective, which means she cuts me loose. Because used to, when I trained all the time, I was loose all the time. Like, all I knew was just hard, you know, adrenaline, go, everything. And it's like, that needs to be like toned down and released momentarily when it's able to, so you can really tap into that. So she's made me basically refrain and hone that in and calm down and be more technical. But then when it's time for me to cut loose, she's like, I want you to go out there and go.
Yeah, have some fun this week. This is what we're doing this week. Gotcha. Yeah, it's kind of a. Do you deload a lot in your programming? Does she have you kind of say? Does she ever turn you off and say, "Okay, Hannah, we're going to take this week, and you're not going to like it, but this is what we're doing"?
Honestly, with the way we have to train with my workload, it's almost like I get a deload every other week, because you know, I work 4 on 4 off swing shifts. So one shift is days, the next shift is nights, and it's back to days. So my workload on my night turns is not a lot, because I'm super tired. I don't have a lot of time. I can really I hit like a 45-minute limit of like, that's all I got. Because then it just turns into a point of like, where I can't give you anymore, because it's just, your CNS is all screwed up because your sleep schedule just got swapped. Then if I have a bad night at work and I'm like, we have a breakout, then all I'm doing is like banging with hammers all day. You really think after 12 hours in the heat, I can really give you anything? You know, so
and that's so true with so many people, right? I mean, the idea behind programming in a perfect world, it makes all the sense. But when you have to add in the variable of life and work, you have to get a little creative on how you do things.
Yeah. And it's taken us, I mean, we're still fine tuning stuff, because, you know, and I think we finally might have the way that we're programming stuff, as far as like on what days to do this and how much intensity and volume and all these things. I think we might have finally found like our pattern, and we're trying this pattern out leading up to Arnold, because we have to have it figured out for Arnold, because when Arnold prep starts, like, I've got to figure it out, which I think we're there. We might have to tweak 1 or 2 more things, but I mean, it's been a long road, because also I'm her only client that does this.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not like she's like, oh, I've done this before. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to be figuring this out together. And there was some times where it was like a crash and burn moment, where it's like, okay, this is definitely not how this is going. Yeah. Like, we've got to change.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, because I was talking to Sean Shoemaker, and I think you know Sean, right? He did the Clash on the Coast recently, and he was up here in the state Michigan with us for a bit. But I did an interview with him the other day, and the strongman programming is a unique sort of thing. It's not it's a new concept really, because back when I was doing it, and a lot of guys even still today, it was implement weekend, it was lift weights and do implements. It was this and do implements. It was, and then generally that got in the way of your CNS and how you were performing, because if you did squats one day and you're trying to do implements on Saturday, it just didn't work out. So you guys have started to really dial that in, is what you're saying. It's gotten to the point now where she knows well enough what you need to work on, what you're working on, how you're able to work on it, and when you can work on it.
Absolutely. Because like some people can deadlift heavy week to week. I can't do that.
Right.
Like my body just can't handle it. So it's just like during prep for like previous contests, we alternate a lot of like Anderson pin squats with deadlifts, because it's just, I physically can't handle heavy deadlifts week to week because my body can't recover that way. So, I mean, but the thing is about with us, we have super good communication, and I'm open with her and I tell her like, hey, this is how I felt. This is how I felt 3 days after. We can't do this.
Right.
And she knows me well enough to trust what I say and then believe it and then alter it and we fix it together. Cause like she asks me questions. She doesn't just run with it. But I mean, I think the fact that she has very open communication with me and she knows me as an athlete and she knows what I give her. Like, you know, she tells me, all right, we're going to do a 12-minute like sandbag gut walk. She knows I'm going to give her everything I have in 12 minutes. So, I mean, it's just, we have a really good working relationship as far as like strength athlete and coach. Also, I mean, we're really good friends anyway, but we have different channels. Cause like, if she's got to fuss me, like, I'm not going to let her, you know, oh, you know, Leifa fussed at me, I'll be mad at her now. Like, it's not like that.
Well, yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, though. It's all about relationship, and I think it's a unique thing. I don't think it happens all the time with people when they get coaches, and I think if you find that coach that you have a really solid relationship with, it certainly makes things easier to figure out.
Oh yeah.
What about the Arnold coming up? So the Arnold that you're getting ready for, I can't wait to see you do it. I mean, I know, I know you're like, hey, I still got a lot of work to do, but what I'm seeing from you right now is pretty fucking impressive, honestly. And I use that word the right way there, because you're just blowing it up with what I see in training. How far have you come along in this, I guess, year off?
It's been, by the time I go back, it'll be 2 years off.
Oh, geez. Oh, Pete, it's 2 years.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like it'll be 2022, but I mean, it was needed. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise, because between me getting this new job, the stress of it, trying to figure out how to peak and prep, that's another reason why I've laid off for 2 years. But also it's just, I needed to bring up my static strength. Yeah. Like everyone knows I'm not going to win a press event and I'm not going to win a deadlift event, but I need to be up here right below the first couple so I can maintain. Then once my events, I can just do my thing. And that's going to give me a better chance to podium, you know?
Yeah, I love that.
So it's like, I need that.
You recognize your strengths for sure. And we know what those are. I mean, your loading events are pretty impressive to watch. Anything quick and speedy, I mean, you got that underneath you pretty well. I'm curious though, I got to ask this question because it makes me wonder, and I wonder if you thought about it. This will be your first contest in 2 years. Are you worried about the contest aspect of it? Is there something that you're doing to prep yourself for the event itself? Because one thing we talk a lot of these young, strong women and strong men about on my end of things is competition. I know you've done it, right? 2 years ago you did it. I get that. But are you worried about that? The whole idea of the competition, the 4 or 5 hour event, and how you're going to respond to that?
No. Basically with training, we prep for that. So like, for example, most contests are 2 days in a row. So like when we lead up to Arnold, we start prepping back to back to prepare for that workload, prepare to compete underneath that stress and that, you know, lack of, you know, mobility, and you might be tired or have a sore back. But no, I mean, honestly, I'm not mental at all. I'm very headstrong and I'm very good with my mental toughness. That doesn't bother me at all. A lot of people think, you know, oh, I've been out the game for 2 years, I'm not this or not that. But it's like, honestly, y'all are going to see a whole new package that you're not even ready to like take on.
Yeah, I can't wait. You know, it would be a question I think everybody would answer a little differently, because I know there's, you know, if you're powerlifting or bodybuilding or whatever other sport you may do, sometimes there's always that warm up involved. Like I got to get out there and just do one to kind of get myself ready for kind of the mental position.
No, I'm not that way. When you put me at contest, I'm very much focused. I'm very much on topic, and that's perceived badly sometimes. A lot of people think that I come off as a bitch and I don't want to talk to people and all this stuff. And it's like, right now is not the time to talk to people. Like if you want to drink a beer with me after at the bar and hang out, this and the other, I'm totally down. But on that competition floor, I'm very focused on what I came to do. And that does not involve small talk and, you know, meeting people and doing all that stuff. And it's like, it's just, I'm very focused. Oh, that's really all I gotta say.
Do you like the format? The pro format, as you mentioned, is generally a 2-day event in most competitions. I know some of them, I think, I hate the acronym WUS because wuss. I hate saying that. Wuss.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Right. Yeah.
I think that was that a 1 or 2-day event over there?
No, that was like a 2-hour event.
Yeah, I was going to say
Like,
it moved
it
really
was just like
fast.
boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
right.
boom.
Do you
Yeah.
like that format better, or do you prefer the 2-day breakup?
Honestly, it's like, I've never done a show as quick as I'm not saying was because I hate it. I could say WS.
Yeah, me too.
I think it sounds so weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
I think I would be fine with that. I would have to prep for that, but I mean, 2-day show, 3-day shows are very exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
I know personally for me, being in the state of hype and mental, like I have to put so much into it mentally. After 3 days, it's not that I'm physically exhausted, I'm emotionally exhausted and like mentally drained. Because it takes, I mean, when I'm at a contest, a lot of people are like, God, she's a psychopath. And it's like, I am, because that's what I have to do to tap into me being what I got to do to win. And it's like, it's extremely draining.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could do everything in one day, that's good. But then it's like, oh man, if you have an off day, at least when you got back for day 2, it can be a whole new day.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've had mistakes in contests and stuff, but I'm one of those people that if I make a mistake, I don't like hone in on it, let it ruin the rest of my time, because that's what you do. Like if you like, when I zeroed the Viking press at OSG, first off, it was overloaded like everything was, and I'm not a good presser.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not a good presser anyway. Also, I've never touched a Viking press, and they wouldn't let us warm up on it. So like,
Wow.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I zeroed it, and I was super pissed. But it's like, I pretty much knew that it was going to be either a 1 rep thing or a 0 thing.
Yeah.
But then when I got off the floor, I like bitched about it for about 5 minutes, and then that was it. Like, I went on to the next thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people get super like, they're like they're just mental, man. And it's like it comes down to mistakes and like how much you can stay focused and what you can do to overcome those mistakes. Because like the most consistent, least mistakes is going to make you win for sure.
Yeah, it goes without saying, right? It's a sport of a very little distance between first and last in a lot of cases. One mistake can trash your entire event, so, or the whole show, if that matter. Do you consider yourself, I mean, I don't want to say OG of the sport because you haven't been in it for more than 4 or 5 years, but you have a unique perspective. You're one of these women, or comparing guys or girls, it doesn't matter. We'll throw you all in the same pot, that you've got a few years under your belt. You've risen to the top of the sport rather quickly. I think you're well deserved to be where you're at. There's no question. But you have kind of a very different mindset over kind of the direction of American Strongwoman. I know recently, and we won't get on it too much, I will point everybody in the direction of Anthony Furman's podcast that he did with you and Melissa Peacock and Jessica Fifth, and it was a 2-part series. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I love Anthony Furman. He's a great guy. I love what he's doing for the 105s and the 84s and the women right now in the Clash series. I can go on and talk about Anthony. I think he's a great dude. But do you think from a perspective, I thought the title, right, is Strong Woman Broken, or how do we fix it? My opinion is I don't think it's necessarily broken. I think it's just a natural progression of the sport, because we're seeing kind of because again, I'm referencing you and other women that I've seen out there progress so quickly through the sport.
Yeah.
It's really just a matter of getting everybody on the same page now, don't you think, to kind of get it in the right direction? So it's not necessarily broken. It just needs to kind of go through its natural progressions.
Yeah. And like, I'm going to touch on this very briefly, but you know, Strong Woman has been around since like 2015, and I got involved in 2017. It's made, and this is my opinion, I think it's made a drastic rise compared to the men. The men have been around a lot longer, you know, and it's like, I think it's starting to turn around and it's got directions it's wanting to go and everybody's getting on the same page. But it's like, I think it's progressing at a phenomenal rate. And it's just like, we just need to be a little bit patient and let it continue to go. You know, it's just like a lot of people want instant gratification. And that's not how everything always goes. Right. I mean, don't I wish that I could make billions of dollars doing this sport? Absolutely. But I know that I can't. So that's why I work at a steel mill to pay my job. Like, I mean, this is my hobby.
That's
so,
right.
I mean, I think it's going in the right direction. It's just going to take a little bit more time. But, and that's another thing. It's such a small community. We need more eyes in the sport. And that also takes time, you know? So it's just like, and that's another thing, we need more companies involved in things of that matter. But it's like, I think a lot of companies don't know about it because it is so small. You know, like if you look at CrossFit, you got a CrossFit box on every corner. So that's why there's so much more money in that
Sure.
involved, because CrossFit boxes are, you know, every corner of the way, and they have big sponsors. You know, it's just like Strongman. We don't really have a lot of big sponsors. You know, now the big boys do, but and that's the thing. Like as far as like the athlete pool go, like if you keep going to the same 3 companies that support all of Strongwoman or in Strongman, there's so much money they can give out because like it's such a small niche group, you know. And I think eventually we could get some bigger sponsors, but
well, it's
just
interesting you
time.
reference CrossFit because I do all the time. I think it feeds into Strongman and Strongwoman to some degree. I think we can all agree on that. But I have some friends that own some CrossFit gyms, not uncommon. It seems like we all know somebody that owns one. And you know who frequents these gyms are doctors and lawyers, and they're a different breed of people. I mean, they're just so they're getting these bigger sponsors because there's just different folks involved that spend a lot of money. And Strongman and Strongwoman is more grassroots, more guys and gals like you and me, and we're blue collar generally in our sport. We're coming from a different place, and I think maybe that plays into it. But I was just I was listening to some of the podcasts. I love listening to it. I listened to all of it, as a matter of fact, both episodes. But I thought to myself, you're right. It's all about the money, right? If we can't generate money in a sport, then where's the money going to come from to take care of the athletes? And boy, that's really the question. And again, there's really no question to you there other than I totally agree. If it doesn't take the money to get there, then how does it happen?
Yeah. And I think like, cause like, honestly, like if you told me, like, cause I understand, like, I'm not like Thor, I'm not Eddie Hall, I'm not Brian Shaw, but it's like, if you could just tell me like, hey, can you come to this contest? We will pay your way. Then if you podium, you get a chance to make some cash. I would be pumped.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm not asking for a $75,000 purse. Now, would it be super cool? Absolutely.
And maybe someday,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like right now, it's like, if I could just have all my expenses paid and have the opportunity to win some cash to make my weekend worth it, that would be completely enough for me. Like, I'm not, you know, because I understand it takes time and it takes, you know, companies getting involved to get a lot more money, but it's just like, I love to compete. I just don't want to have to spend $2,000 on a weekend to go out there and you know, get like a bag.
I'd rather go to on vacation in the tropics with a couple grand if I could, if that's even possible anymore.
Yeah,
you know, it's interesting to me because we're talking about money in the sport and trying to at least accommodate the idea that we can pay our pro athletes, and even the men are dealing with this. This isn't just a woman's thing, because there's a 95% of the strong men that are pros out there are also in the same boat. We're only talking about the top 2 or 3% of strong men out there. And those are the guys that you referenced.
15.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and it's like, that's the thing. Like, you know, like I know Gabe personally, he ain't making like a boatload of money. Like I know Trey Mitchell ain't making a boatload of money.
That's right.
You know, it's just like all these guys, and it's really only like the top 15 that are making so much money with these purses and sponsors. But at the same time, it's like, you know, Thor's making a lot of money because he's got a lot of sponsorships, but he's also dealing with a lot of different things. He's in movies, he's in commercials, you know, he's pushing a lot of products. You know, he's extremely marketable, he's extremely professional, he's extremely presentable.
And it's a whole different animal over there in Europe. We're not talking about the United States here. I mean, look at Giants Live, the British show they just did. It looked like it was a soccer stadium filled with people. You had 30,000 people there. I mean, I can't remember the last show over here. Listen, I did the Great Lakes Strongman Championships. I think maybe you caught that. And we went up there and we covered the event because we had a couple people in the show up in Traverse City. You know, he did a great job. George Bullard did. It was about 450 spectators in the stands.
Yeah.
That was more than America's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
Or America's Strongest Woman. And I think so in some part, and I don't want to get myself in trouble, right? Because I understand how small the strongman community is, but I'm not afraid to say it. The promoters have to start getting creative. And I don't mean the promoters. Let me rephrase that. The organizers do. Because the promoters generally aren't as talented as George Bullard up in Traverse City. They're just normal guys like me or normal gals like you that love the sport, that are just trying to find a way to promote it and to get them to ask for money in the sport to try to pay our, you're asking for a lot. You're getting somebody out of their wheelhouse. So my question to you is, what can the promoters do? Or because I know you've thought about this, you're no different than the rest of us. Is there anything that you would suggest to a promoter to make that happen? Or are you kind of in the same boat a lot of us are, like it's an enigma?
Honestly, it's like, WS did a really good job. It was a very small show. I think there was 8 women and maybe 12 guys.
Yeah.
But, they had a lot of digital media. They had a lot of, representation pushing the sport. They, if they put a post out about the guys show, they did post about the women. And like digital media is not expensive. I mean, Fithen literally said that, like, just equal promotion. Like, and I agree with that for sure. Like if you're going to put a post out about the pro men at Arnold, then put a post out about the pro women,
Sure.
And it's like, I think smaller shows make the athletes feel more valuable to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever you have over about 12 people, it starts just, no one knows who you are. They can't keep up with your name. It's just like, if you have a smaller show, 10 people or below, everyone knows who you are. The judges know who you are. You get called by name. So you feel more, like, I guess like special, deserve to be there type of thing.
Yeah.
But also it's like right now, sorry, Thomas is being funny. Right now it's like, for some reason, everyone wants to keep doing stupid log, stupid sandbag toss, a regular old deadlift, and then like whatever else. And it's like, can we just do some fun stuff? Like, can we have like a natural log clean and press? Can we have like an engine block carry? Can we have like, just go to like a pull apart, get pieces of cars,
right.
Paint them up and like make a contest. But it's like, I kind of wish that we had more contests like they did back in the olden days, like just most random objects.
I think it would be more appealing to a consumer standpoint. I love seeing that stuff. When I was watching as a kid.
Yeah. And like, it's just like, and I get it, because it does come down to money to building certain implements and stuff. But, I really wish that the different companies that aren't the same, like I wish like Strongman Core and USS or whatever, and I understand they're trying to all be different to attract people to different things. But at the same time, I really wish between all 3 of them, they could get really cool implements and either rent them out to each other or swap them out to each other or just shift them around each other. Like, I probably understand that's probably never going to happen, but like, like I wish we had more squats in Strongman, like the basket squats. Those are super cool.
Oh, I can't
basket
wait
deadlifts are super cool. Like all that kind of stuff. And like, like we had like a little backyard contest. It was unsanctioned and they got telephone poles and chopped them into different sizes for different weights. Yeah. And it was like a natural clean and press. And it was like super cool. Like, honestly, that was a backyard contest. 12 people were there? 12 people were there and they were all nobodies. Besides, I guess the only one worth anything was Ryan, my client, because he had went to Clash. But it's like, it was super cool. Like, it was the coolest events. It was like a 5 dumbbell clean and press, an elephant bar max, sandbag for max height, though, at least, not a stupid series. What else?
I love the max height, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, a random odd object carry, a heavy rock, a blue drum filled with half water.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And a heavy keg and some other odd object. But honestly, it's like, I wish that I could have competed. Like, it was a really cool contest and everyone knew everybody's name. And I think they had like cash prizes and stuff, like just a bunch of backwoods boys like hanging out together, like no weight class.
Yeah,
I love that. It was one of the coolest ones.
Yeah, I love that. I like the idea of kind of getting back to the roots a little bit. And I get it. Every promoter wants to kind of, not every promoter, organizations, right? If we look at USS or if we look at Strongman Corp, they want to kind of cookie cutter it a little bit more. It's efficient. You can have all Rogue equipment or all Titan equipment. But I'm with you. Have that couple of events that are a little odd object that are appealing to the consumer. That's awesome.
Well, I will say this, like, and I get, like, now people probably get mad at this too, but I think, like, for example, amateur nationals, I think that needs to be a little bit more standardized because there's so many people.
I agree.
And like so bigger shows like that.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah. But like, I think since like the bigger shows, like all the amateur nationals or even amateur regionals or whatever they're doing with now, I think that's okay to be more standardized because it would be cheaper, a faster show to be done. So I can say to that. But as far as like the pro shows, like, I mean, American Strongman had some cool implements. They had fingal fingers. You know how much I'd want to do a fingal finger in a contest?
I tell you and a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, I think if they could do, the pro shows to be cooler, I think that would be something cool because that also like, that's also a cool niche thing. It's like, man, if you get to be pro, you get to do all these really cool events. Like that gives something else for people to like work towards.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you're right. There's a lot of creativity that's being left out of it. And there's a lot of easy roads being taken right now with a lot of promoters that are doing it. And you know what else I haven't seen in a while? And Sean Schumacher gave me his answer to this. So I'm going to ask you the same question. Why the hell are we not seeing a tire flip anymore? What's going on?
Ooh, there's a lot of bicep tears with a tire flip.
I get it, but I mean, I did 1,000 tire flips. I mean, not everybody tears their bicep, but
no, I mean, I agree. I think I would say a mixture between a lot of bicep tears. That's just for some reason not popular in the U.S. In Canada, there's always a tire flip, and also in Canada, there's always a squat event. I wish we had squat events.
Yes,
but I don't know. I think that's just like a population thing, I guess. I don't know, but I know some guys will not go to a contest if they have a tire flip. Wow. Like legitimately will not go because they've torn their bicep on it.
That was a part of every Saturday for us. We were flipping tires, you know, that was always a part of our training.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't flipped huge tires because I don't have access to them, but I flipped that one at Todd's that probably weighs what, 500-600 pounds, Thomas? Yeah. I mean, and it was fine. I just was careful.
Do that 10 times, you get some heavy breathing in. That's probably the only cardio strongmen are getting, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I would also say this, that in defense of a lot of promoters out there, that sometimes your space is limited. You don't have an 80-foot run. You don't want to screw up a turf field or something. There's limitations to where I get all that. So in those promoters' defense, but you know, getting back to the organizations kind of getting all on the same page, you made the reference of kind of maybe sharing a little bit. I really hope we see that. And I've got two things I want to say that I want to get your opinion on. You know, I think that we have to share our pros a little bit. I think we have to share our top athletes a little bit. I know there's no loyalties. Everybody always tells me that, Joe, there's no loyalties. I get that, but there's always there's something going on behind the scenes that creates a little division. And I saw that with America's Strongest Woman this year. And then you saw it in the pro world that was thrown in North Dakota on the women's world on the same day. Did you see that?
I wasn't aware. No, I wasn't aware of this on the same day. I mean,
don't you think a little bit of communication there would go a long ways? I mean, we don't have that many pro women to begin with, but now we're going to do two shows in the same day.
So
careful. I won't get you, Thomas. Don't worry. I'm not going to get her in a ton of trouble here. I'm just,
I mean, I don't know.
What I'm getting at, the question isn't, are they good or bad? But don't you think communication would go a long way? That's all I'm getting at. So
from what I know, Strongman Corps is ran by Dion.
Yes.
And USS is ran by her ex-husband.
You're the elephant in the room. I get it.
So
on that road, I get it. Yeah.
So I do not know anything other than that legitimately, and that's just public knowledge. So I don't know. I mean, personally, I've never done USS, and this is no disregard to USS, but whenever I was coming up in my ranks, USS shows just weren't heavy enough for me.
Gotcha.
And my thing is like, if I'm going to do a 12-week prep, I want to be against hard people in the room to beat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a title chaser. Like, I personally want to be challenged because, like, you know, there's some people that go to shows like, oh, well, I won, but it's like, well, no one was there. Like, I guess so, you won. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, personally, they were never that challenging for me. Strongman Corps always was. And also, that's also twice the money. Like, if I go to USS Nationals and Strongman Corps Nationals, and at the time being, like, the only way I could get to Arnold was Strongman Corps.
Yeah.
So in my
there's
opinion,
different paths. There's different paths for sure. Yeah. I know both Willie and Dion, and I met them years ago. They're both great people. So I get it. In the strongman circles are like, well, you know, they used to be this or that. And that's not important. They're both their hearts and minds are in the right place for the sport. So that that question never crosses my mind if there's any type of true competitiveness outside of a good, honorable competitiveness there. But I do think there's something to be said about sharing the sport as a whole, because I think it would be really cool if they did an America's Strongest Woman or Strongest Man and alternated the years who promoted it, so there can be a little bit more camaraderie there and getting all the athletes in a pool. And I think that
that would be sick. That would be sick. But I don't know. And it's just, that's the thing. Like, you know, people have their sayings about why this and that and the other.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I don't care. Like,
no.
You know, I have my thing. I do my thing, and that's that's all I'm really concerned
Yeah, and
with
you just said it.
because
You're competing at Strongman Corp because you have a better
yeah,
challenge to yourself with some of the stuff they were doing. And I know
yeah,
Willie's got some fun stuff coming the USS way, and he's got some things with
yeah,
maybe starting to pay the pros, which I think is really cool. So
yeah,
I think the evolution is still taking place, like we
it
talked about
is.
in the beginning. We still kind of
Yeah.
seeing this. Maybe in a year or two, we'll see some real special stuff. I will say this: I came up with this great idea, and I want to know how you would, if you were an amateur, how you would think about this. You know, the big
Okay.
problem. This is my. I'm going to pitch it, right? Because they're going to listen to this
Yeah.
and they're going to change
Yeah.
everything because of what I say.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be cool? Because we always talk about money, and you just said it. If I can just get my hotel paid for, my flight paid for, have a little purse to win or not, or a big purse, whatever that might be, have some expenses covered. How does a promoter do that? I think that what we should do, and everybody hates this word because I do too, tax, right? Let's not use the word tax. Let's use the word like a fund, like a pro fund that amateurs pay into. So out of every event, if I threw an event with 150 people competing, because there's some big events out there nowadays.
Yeah.
And I know that I have a $500, let's say, sanctioning fee with USS or Strongman Corp or whatever it might be to pay for the show. What if I paid $2 per athlete to the organization to put into a pro fund that could afford pro shows? Because I'll tell you, as an amateur, I would have no problem doing that. A couple dollars, because if you think about it, if you've got 100 shows for USS every year, which I think, boy, Willie's probably got more than that.
Yeah. Willie throws a lot.
And thousands of competitors. If only $2 per competitor went to this pro fund, I think it might help things out a lot. And I would have no problem paying that. If somebody told me, hey, Joe, your fee to enter is $50 plus a $2 pro fund, I'd be like, absolutely. I mean, I want to see women like you compete more often.
Yeah.
I want to see guys compete more often.
I mean, honestly, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, I mean, because you're already paying a whatever sanction fee, then you're paying a fee to get into the stupid ass contest. Like, if you told me like, and if my goal is heart and set on like you're paying $2 to the pros to get paid or whatever, I mean, $2 is so like insignificant that I would pay that.
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't. But and also, it's just like it doesn't have to be it should have to be a thing. Like this is how this works. And like $5 or $2, like
it adds up quick.
It adds up quick. And honestly, like I think that would be a great thing. Honestly,
and as an amateur, I would think we all compete to try to be better. And maybe someday I'll be that pro. And I support it because maybe someday the up and coming generation is going to support me. So I don't know. I just thought about that the other day after I was watching you guys on that podcast. I thought, what is a solution? I don't know. Maybe that's a thought. But so
absolutely.
anyhow,
I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Getting back onto the idea of making American strong women better, not fix it. I think we just have to make it better.
Yeah.
You had a couple things that you wanted to say. Do you want to share some of your thoughts with me? No.
I think that we're on the right path, but I think it's just we're so far behind the UK because that's so inbred with them and grew up with them that everybody, they don't have a lot of sports like we do. So like all they have is like soccer and strongman, really, probably some rugby, but it's just like, I think we're on the right path. And I think the US is just a little bit different because, like in the UK, like the general population looks at strongman differently, like, and I think the US is on the right track, but it's going to take like a minute, but it's heading that way for sure.
There's a lot of personalities involved, right, Hannah? I mean, you know that firsthand. We talk behind the scenes, and there's a lot of personalities involved in developing this sport, both on the level of professional, amateur, men and women. And sometimes those personalities have differing opinions on the way things need to get done and why they should get done. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I really just wish that cancel culture would go away. I think it's a terrible thing. I also don't understand why people that have different opinions of each other can't just go, I don't agree with that and go about their day. Because believe me, like there's things that I don't agree with people and I don't go into it more than just like, well, that's stupid. And then just literally go about my day. So I just wish that people could get over someone else having an opinion different of theirs. I think that would help people in general, not just in strongman, but in general. I think, like, I'm just going to say this one thing because I'm not going to go into it at all. after this. But I think for me to ask people to be presentable and to shed a positive light on the sport by keeping a professional appearance, it was not making fun of anybody.
No.
And then also, asking reference to better management of side effects from excessive gear use wasn't making fun of anybody either.
No.
I didn't say that it was wrong. I didn't say that I didn't, you can do whatever you want. I said that, but it's just, I personally did not make fun of one individual. That's all I want to say in regards to that. And if you haven't watched the podcast, watch it.
Yep.
You can see that I did not do that. But I mean, I just wish the whole cancel culture would go away. There's nothing positive that comes from it. And honestly, I see a lot of negative things that come from the cancel culture. And that's in a lot of things. Cancel culture of different opinions in politics, or different opinions in sports, or different opinions in, new laws or mandates or whatever. It's just like, whatever it is, it's like we all have opinions and we're all entitled to our opinions. And it's okay to disagree with somebody. Absolutely. And move about your day. Like, I have friends of mine that I have different opinions in all sorts of things, and I'm still friends with them because, I mean, like, can you imagine if we all thought the same, how boring life would be?
Yeah, it's well, without a doubt. And it saddens me a little bit because you don't just see it, and I didn't just see it in certain situations that you've recently went through, but I see it a lot more often in strength sports, that there tends to be this ooze of cancel culture coming into our arena, right? A place that we always thought was a sanctuary. Like, we're always on the same page as strength athletes. Like, we don't let the outside world influence our thoughts or influence our opinions. And we take this conversation to ourselves to solve the problems. And I still think we're on that path because we're all individuals, like you said, and we're going to have a lot of strong opinions going one way or the other. We had a couple podcasts, just the last couple in particular, that I found myself walking a line, I thought, and I'm true to myself. I'm like, oh, fuck all that. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I mean, I'm not discounting anybody's opinion on that. I would love to sit down with anybody that want to talk to me about something maybe I don't agree with or disagree with. I have no problem with that. But you're right. The only way this is going to get any further is if we have the opportunity to kind of open our minds up to everybody's kind of way of thinking. And
well, that's the thing. It's like, if somebody wants to talk to me about something, like, you slide in my DMs and like, I'll FaceTime you. Like, I have no issues with talking about somebody with different opinions. I mean, I do it all the time. Like, one of my best friends has different opinions of me of all sorts of stuff. And we talk about it, and she listens to my thoughts on it, and I listen to her thoughts on it. And then I might open her eyes a little bit, or she might open my eyes a little bit. And then we're just like, thanks for the conversation, because it challenges me as an individual.
Who's that? Melissa Peacock? You talking about Melissa?
No, we don't.
Because you guys are salt and pepper. I'm telling you right now. There might be two. You guys are completely different individuals, but you guys are best friends, and I love that.
Oh yeah, I mean, she's so funny because she's so, like, she's not as near as blunt as I am, but
no,
I mean, she's so funny. But it's just like, I mean, she's really a good person, and for anybody to say anything other than that, they don't know who she is, and they're just basing their opinions off of nonsense they're seeing on the internet and stuff. But I mean, and we talked about that on Furman's podcast, like, don't judge us at contests on the competition floor.
Yeah.
Like, don't say, oh, well, she's not being nice to me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, like, go to the bar with us after and we'll talk. Like, and, and it's just so funny because she's just like that as I am. She's not near as, like, outwardly aggressive as I am, but she's super focused. Like, if you watch her compete at WS, they're like waiting to start. And she was laser focused. And I mean, I'll say it again. I mean, she's the most dominant active middleweight, like, in the world right now.
She's impressive. How did you guys meet? Where'd you guys meet at?
So it was her first Arnold. She was a lightweight competitor, and that's back in my middleweight days. And she said she was so scared to talk to me that she didn't talk to me at contest. And then I followed her on Instagram a couple of days later, and she was doing Static Monsters in Australia.
Yeah.
And I was watching her. So, like, I, like, film recorded it and, like, tagged her. I'm like, oh, like, watching my lightweight friend, whatever, crush. And we just started, like, chatting and stuff. And she's like, oh, that's so cool, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, to be honest, like, I wanted to talk to you so bad at Arnold, but I was just scared to death of you, which I hear all the time. Like, that's nothing new.
Yeah, I get that.
And I was like, there's times to talk to me and there's times not to talk to me. She goes, oh no, I knew when I saw you, it was not the time to talk to you. So I just let you go about your business. And we just became, I mean, she's without a doubt, like, my best friend in the world. Like, she's been through with me a lot of, life changes. I moved from Louisiana. I'm in Alabama now. She's been through with all that. I mean, she really is a good person, you know, and she's funny. She's super funny, but I mean, she's super impressive. I mean, she's like 6'5'7". She's like a buck 80. Like her pressing power and her
It's
deadlift
unbelievable.
power.
Yeah.
Well, she's built. She's stocky. I mean, her legs
Yeah.
are like freaking horse legs. I mean, she's
Sure.
meant to press and deadlift.
Yes.
And, you know, she's a good mover. She's a good athlete. She works extremely hard. I mean, she's a good beer drinker. I mean, me and her, we get together, we crush beers.
Yeah. I love
But I mean, it's just like I mean, we just crack up. Like if you saw us at the bar after we compete, all we're doing is cracking up. Like,
well, I would love to see that. I'm hoping maybe someday we'll all end up in the same spot, because I really got a kick out of Furman's interview with you guys. And I was looking at it at a different perspective, because I knew you and Melissa were good friends. And I was looking at these two personalities that maybe in another world wouldn't even be friends, but Strong Woman brought you guys together in a crazy way, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like, she's super girly girl, you know, this, that, and the other. But I mean, also she's a tomboy deep down. Her dad owns a cattle ranch. So she's out there with the cattle. Like she brands them every year. You know, she's gone hunting. She fishes. You know, she does everything I do. It's just she gets fake eyelashes and, you know, her hair dyed and her nails done all the time. But that's what she likes to do, you know, and she doesn't care that I don't do it, because I mean, we align on a lot of stuff, but I mean, she's funny. Like she's a funny individual. Can you stop?
Yeah, I would
Max?
love to be a fly on the wall watching you guys hang out and party one night. That would be hilarious. You know, you've got a really cool group of friends. I think, you know, with Leifa and Melissa, and you're all different. And I don't know them, and hopefully someday I will get to know them. I'd love to interview them sometime, but I just think it's a unique quality about the sport that you have this ability to develop all these very unique friendships in a world that you otherwise wouldn't if you didn't have an opportunity to come together over one thing, and that's the strength sport, or the sport of Strong Woman, you know, which is really cool. How's Thomas doing? Is he still hanging out with you?
Yeah, he's around the corner.
Is he getting into? I wanted to get him on the camera so everybody knows who we're talking about real quick here.
Oh,
yeah, tell him. Yeah, tell him.
Yep. He wants to talk to you. Here, you have to talk into that thing. I don't know. He's got to hear you.
Hey, Thomas, I just wanted to put you on the spot, you know, because we follow your amazing wife and all the great stuff she does in strength sports, but she's got one hell of a partner over there that I want to give you credit for, and that's you, because in those videos I see you guys training in the headlights at night, she's not the only one working. I know you are too.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I got to catch those stones.
Yeah, how did you find this girl? I got to ask you. You both are strength athletes. I know you're a big Highlands game guy now. How does this relationship work from a training aspect? I want to ask you first.
Well, it's different. Well, it depends on the day, because I still do a lot of bodybuilding type training. You know, like I still have one or two body parts at a time, that kind of thing. And like, even though I should be doing more explosive stuff to get better at Highlands, it's kind of hard for me to get away from the shit I've been doing for so long. You know.
Sure.
And so I usually just kind of work in, like I'll do a set, and then if she's ready, I'll go ahead and help her with whatever she's doing. If, like, say, if she's got stone loads or something, and I know she's got stone loads that evening, I try to get over there and get all my stuff done beforehand so I can help her.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's funny, you know, Hannah's got a strong personality. I don't have to tell you that. You married her.
Right.
So I know you figured out a way to navigate her contests and her training and all that kind of stuff. And I think it would be a bad thing not to say that we have support groups behind us, and you're obviously her number one fan.
I mean, thank you for that. I do what I can, you know.
Yeah, I know you do, man. I watch those videos. I catch you in clips of them here and there, and she's pretty intense when she trains too. Yeah. So you're getting ready for some Highland Game stuff, huh?
Yeah, there's one here next month, and it's actually in Decatur, which is about 25 minutes from us. We work in Decatur, so that's like a normal daily drive for us. And I may do it. If not, then it'll probably be next year.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that about you guys, because you train a lot of your throwing there in the yard, and you got one hell of a setup over there.
Yeah, we're fortunate because we work at a steel mill. We get a discount on scrap price. So like the other day we just bought some 3-inch pipe so we can build a better standard, because Hannah keeps breaking our PVC.
No kidding. Hey, that's one hell of a pole barn you got there too, by the way. Every time I see that in the video, I'm like, man, that's awesome. That's a man cave.
Yeah.
And a woman cave. Sorry, Hannah. And a woman cave.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's actually,
thanks, Thomas.
All part of our house. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man. It's actually our house.
Yeah, it's actually our garage. It's linked to our house.
Oh, is it really? Damn, that's huge.
Yeah.
What is that, like 5,000 square feet?
It's 1,200 square feet.
It looks huge when you guys from the outside with that big that overhang. Oh geez, look at that. That's unbelievable. That's every strong man's dream right there. I'm telling you.
Oh, don't look at the clothes.
You're doing a good job hiding it. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's everything that we need from, I mean, everything, all my stones, and then my little like wooden platform.
You built it just specifically for training, it looks like.
I mean, yeah, that was the plan. We got our house built. We moved in May, and let me get where you can see me.
Yeah.
And I mean, he wanted the gym. He wanted the home gym, and then I was moving up here, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I have all this stuff. Like, I can't bring this to a regular gym.
Yeah.
So we kind of like built it up and everything and made it. I mean, it's 1,200 square foot, and it's honestly, we probably could have made it 2,000, but whatever.
Yeah.
But it works. And I just do like my yoke and stuff.
Right underneath the.
Whoops.
You do it right underneath that shed roof, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We have like a covered porch, and I just put like a rubber mat down. So if I drop anything, so I have a 50-foot runway.
Nice. God, that's nice out there.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot going around you guys over there, though, is there? As far as strongman gyms or facilities or anything?
The nearest strongman gym would be Todd, and he's an hour away. Yeah, he's an hour away.
Yeah, that's well, and that's why we love the idea of throwing these implements in that get creative, right? Because we've all got a few of those laying around our yard somewhere that we just work with different.
Yeah. So I mean, it works out, and that's the thing. Like, we don't have to worry about people, sharing things. Like, when I come home from work, I get my things done. It's just me and him. It's easy. It makes my life, especially with my job, easier just to come here. No, I don't have to share things. No, it's just me and him. I can pre-set up stuff if I need to before I come home from work. It makes so much more sense. So that's why we have everything. We have a few more pieces.
I think you guys are lucky to find one another. That's a match made in heaven. It looks like you both support yourself. And I love making reference to that on the show, because behind every great athlete, you got your boyfriend or girlfriend or your husband or wife or somebody. And if you don't get support from them, shit can everything, so.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. So that's awesome. You guys have such a fun relationship. And yeah, like I said, you dress up nice. I saw that picture on there.
Oh yeah.
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 Well, listen, I appreciate you joining me today, and certainly an interview that I've been meaning to do for quite some time, at least getting it right with you. So yeah. So thanks again. And I look forward to seeing you at the Arnold. We're going to try to make it down this year. And if I don't catch you, I'll be certainly yelling and screaming for you. So I think you're going to do some pretty awesome stuff in the sport. Is there anything else you want to say at all?
No, just everybody just be ready for the Arnold. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it to be here. I'm ready to swamp. So it'll be good.
Well, Arnold, then comes the world. I love it, Hannah. Thanks for joining us.
Not a problem.
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty.